This is the EdExcel GCSE 9-to-1 Maths Foundation Paper 1, which is a non-calculator paper. Question 1. Here is a list of numbers 2, 4, 4, 7, 8. Work out the range of these numbers. To work out the range, we need the smallest number, 2, and the largest number, 8. The range is the difference between 2 and 8. So, the range is equal to 8 subtract 2, which is equal to 6. So the range is equal to 6. Question 2. Work out 120 subtract 89. What this is the same as is 120 subtract 90 plus 1. Negative 90 plus 1 is the same as negative 89. So, 120 subtract 90 is 30, and adding 1 to this, we end up with 31. So 120 subtract 89 is 31. Question 3. Simplify 3 multiplied by a multiplied by 4. Because of commutativity, we can write an equivalent statement, that is to say, 3 multiplied by a multiplied by 4 is equivalent to 3 multiplied by 4 multiplied by a. So if we work this out, 3 times by 4, that's 12, and we are multiplying by a, so we end up with 12a. Question 4. Measure the size of the angle marked X. The angle in between these two lines is the angle X. If we place our protractor in the position shown here, we can use our protractor to measure the angle X. So, measuring, what you can see is the angle X is 39 degrees. So we have 39 degrees for the angle marked X. Question 5. Work out 1/5 of 300. This is the same as 300 divided by 5, which is equal to 60. So 1/5 of 300 is 60. Question 6. There are 3 litres of oil in a can. Jermaine uses 700 millilitres of the oil. Work out the amount of oil left in the can. Give your answer in millilitres. To begin with, we know that Jermaine uses 700 millilitres of the oil. We have 3 litres of oil in a can, so the first thing we need to do is make the units consistent. Let's convert everything to millilitres. Knowing that 1 litre is equivalent to 1000 millilitres, 3 litres is therefore equal to 3000 millilitres. Hence, the amount of oil left will be given by 3000 millilitres subtract 700 millilitres, which is 2300 millilitres. Question 7. Matt is drawing a scale diagram. 1 centimetre represents 5 metres. He draws a line 3 centimetres long. Part A. What real distance does the line represent? Well, we've got this scale where 1 centimetre represents 5 metres. So if we have a line 3 centimetres long, we have to multiply 3 by 5. That gets us 15. So the real distance is 15 meters. The real distance between 2 points is 20 meters. Part B, what is the distance between the 2 points on the scale diagram? Well, this time we've got a real distance of 20 meters. So we have to do 20 divided by 5 to find out the distance on the scale diagram. 20 divided by 5, that's 4. Therefore, we have the distance between the 2 points on the scale diagram being 4 centimeters. Question number 8. Miss Bailey asked 24 students whether each wanted to go on a school trip. Here are the results. Part A. Complete the frequency table. In our frequency table, we've got the place, castle, farm or museum. We then find a tally, which we can then use to find the frequency. So, how many times does castle appear? Well, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So the frequency is 11. How many times does farm appear? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Farm appears 7 times. How many times does museum appear? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Museum appears 6 times. Here is the completed frequency table. Part B, write down the place that is the mode. The mode is the one with the highest frequency. The highest frequency is 11, which corresponds to castle. Part C, draw a bar chart to show the results. We begin by adding a scale, such as the one we see here. We are going up in 2s. So we have 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and then 12. We then add on our labels, C for castle, F for farm, M for museum. So now completing the bar chart using the frequency table we found in Part A. We have castle going up to 11, farm going up to 7, and museum going up to 6. Question number 9. Selena has a bag of 22 counters. 5 of the counters are blue, 9 of the counters are red, 8 of the counters are pink. Selena takes at random a counter from the bag. Write down the probability that Selena, for the first part, takes a red counter. Well, how many red do we have? You can see we have 9 red out of a total of 22. For the second part, the probability that Selena does not take a pink counter. Well, first of all, we can find out how many counters are not pink. That's equal to the 5 which are blue plus the 9 which are red. We have a total of 14 counters which are not pink. And therefore the probability of picking a counter which is not pink is 14 out of 22. For the third part, takes a white counter. Well, you can see we've only got blue, red or pink counters. There are no white counters. So it is impossible for us to get a white. And therefore, the probability that we take a white counter is 0. Question 10. Here are the ingredients needed to make 20 peanut butter cookies. To make 20 cookies, we require 250 grams of peanut butter, 200 grams of sugar, 2 small eggs. Derek wants to make 60 cookies. He has 900 grams of peanut butter, Does Derek have enough peanut butter to make 60 cookies? You must show how you get your answer. First of all, we know for 20 cookies we have 250 grams of peanut butter. We have in total 900 grams of peanut butter available. We know how much peanut butter is required for 20 cookies. We want to make 60 cookies, so what we can do to begin with is find a scale factor. Our scale factor will equal 60 divided by 20, which is 3. So I need to multiply the amount of peanut butter available for 20 cookies by 3. So I've got 250 grams multiplied by 3, which is 750 grams. I now need to compare this with the 900 grams of peanut butter available. We can see 750 grams is less than 900 grams, and therefore we have enough. Question number 11. On the grid, draw an enlargement of the triangle with a scale factor of 3. You can see going across we have a length of 2 units. So when we multiply 2 by 3, we get 6. So the new length is 6. Going upwards, we have a length of 3. So multiplying 3 by 3, we get 9. So the new height will be 9. And so here is our completed triangle. This larger triangle is an enlargement of the smaller triangle by a scale factor of 3. Question number 12. P equals 2g plus 4h. Part A, for the first part, work out the value of P when g equals 3 and h equals 5. Substituting into this formula, P will equal 2 multiplied by 3 plus 4 multiplied by 5. So we have 6 plus 20, which is 26. So P equals 26. Next, work out the value of g when P equals 38 and h equals 3. We have 38 equals 2g plus 4 multiplied by 3. So we have 38 equals 2g plus 12. Subtracting 12 from both sides, we end up with 26 equals 2g, and dividing both sides by 2, we end up with g equals 13. So g equals 13. V equals 3r subtract q. Part B, work out the value of V when r is negative 3 and q is 2. So we have V equals 3 multiplied by negative 3 subtract 2. So we have negative 9 subtract 2, which is negative 11. So V equals negative 11. Question number 13. Chloe is making scrunchies. Chloe has a large number of hairbands. Each hairband costs 8 pence. She buys 100 grams of wool for £3. Chloe uses 1 hairband and 5 grams of wool to make each scrunchie. She makes as many scrunchies as she can. Work out the total cost of each scrunchie that she makes. Give your answer in pence. So, to begin with, we know that each hairband costs 8 pence. And we know that she buys 100 grams of wool, and for 1 scrunchie, she uses 5 grams of wool. So with this we can find out how many scrunchies she can make. So 100 divided by 5 is 20, so she can make 20 scrunchies. Now, we know that 100 grams of wool costs £3, which is the same as 300 pence. And if I divide this by 20 to get me the 5 grams of wool, I can find out how much it would cost for 5 grams of wool. 300 divided by 20 is 15. So it costs 15 pence for 5 grams of wool. So therefore, one scrunchie would cost 8 pence plus the 15 pence, which is 23 pence. So each scrunchie costs 23 pence. Question number 14. On the grid, draw the graph of y equals 4x, subtract 1 for values of x from -2 to 2. Well, let's create a table of values. We've got x going from -2 to 2, so we have -2, -1, 0, 1 and 2. We need to find the corresponding y values. When x is -2, I've got -8 subtract 1, which is -9. When x is -1, I have -4 subtract 1, which is -5. When x is 0, I've got 0 subtract 1, which is -1. When x is 1, I've got 4 subtract 1, which is 3. When x is 2, I've got 8 subtract 1, which is 7. So now I need to plot these values. So I've got -2, 9, which is over here. Then I've got -1, -5, which is here. Then I've got 0, -1, which is here. Then I've got 1, 3, and then I've got 2, 7. So now let's join these up with a straight line. So here we've got the graph of y equals 4x subtract 1. Question number 15. Steve is buying a car. The car costs £12,000. Steve pays 25% of the cost as a deposit. He pays the rest of the cost in 20 equal monthly payments. How much is each monthly payment? The first thing we need to do is find out how much deposit he pays. That's given by 25% of 12,000. And if I work this out, 25% is the same as 1/4. So 1/4 of 12,000 is 3,000. So he pays £3,000 for his deposit. So the remaining amount will equal £12,000 subtract £3,000, which is £9,000. So each monthly payment will equal 9,000 divided by 20, which is 450. So each monthly payment is £450. Question number 16. Shah takes an exam. The exam is out of 60 marks. Shah needs to score at least 70% of the marks to pass the exam. He scores 45 marks. Show that Shah passes the exam. We know that he scores 45 marks. And we need at least 70% of the marks to pass the exam. So let's work out 70% of 60. To do that, we need to work out what 10% of 60 is. And that's 6. So therefore 70% of 60 will be 6 times by 7, which is 42. So 42 marks are needed to pass the exam. He actually scores 45, so if I compare this 45 with the 42, I can see 45 is greater than 42, which means Shah passes the exam. Question number 17. Work out 3/5 divided by 1/6. Give your answer as a mixed number. So to work out this calculation, we can recognise that 3/5 divided by 1/6 is equal to 3/5 multiplied by 6/1. Multiplying the numerators, 3 times by 6 is 18. multiplying the denominators. 5 multiplied by 1 is 5. So 3/5 multiplied by 6 over 1 is 18 over 5. To convert this into a mixed number, how many times does 5 go into 18? That's 3 whole times. What's left over is 3, so we have 3 wholes and 3/5. Question 18. Work out 6.3 multiplied by 2.4. One way in which we could do this is to use the grid method. So for the grid method, we can split these numbers into its place values. So 6.3 is the same as 6 plus 0.3, and 2.4 is the same as 2 plus 0.4. So now let's multiply using the grid. 2 times by 6 is 12. 2 times 0.3, that's 0.6. 0.4 times 6 is 2.4. 0.4 multiplied by 0.3, that's 0.12. We now need to add these together. So we have 12 plus the 2.4 plus the 0.6 plus the 0.12, which we need to add together. So looking down the 100th column, we've got 2. Looking down the 10th column, 4 plus 6 plus 1, that's 11, so we've got this 1 here, and then we carry the extra 1 into the units column. Then I've got 1 plus 2, which is 5, and then I've got the 1. So I'm left with 15.12. So we have 15.12. Question 19, part A. For the first part, write down the value of 5 to the 0. Anything to the 0th power is 1. For the next part, write down the value of 5 to the negative 2. 5 to the negative 2 is the same as 1 over 5 squared, and 1 over 5 squared is the same as 1 over 25. So 5 to the negative 2 is equal to 1 over 25. Part B, write 2 to the 5 multiplied by 2 to the 4 all over 2 to the 3 in the form 2 to the n, where n is an integer. So I've got this 2 to the 5 times 2 to the 4, and what I need to do is add the powers because I'm multiplying and I've got the same base, so I've got 2 to the 5 plus 4 on the numerator, and on the denominator I've got 2 to the 3. So 5 plus 4 is 9, so I've got 2 to the 9 on the numerator, and on the denominator I've got 2 to the 3. Now I've got the same base, and I'm dividing, so I subtract the powers, so I've got 2 to the 9 subtract 3, which is 2 to the 6. So I end up with 2 to the 6. Question number 20, part A, write 156 as the product of its prime factors. So I've got this 156, and I can rewrite this as 2 multiplied by 78. 2 is a prime number, 78 isn't, so we can further split up this 78 as 2 times by 39. 2 is a prime number, 39 isn't, so we can further split up this 39 as 3 times by 13. The 2's are prime numbers, the 3 is a prime number, and so is the 13. So 156 is 2 times 2 times 3 times 13, or equivalently 2 squared times 3 times 13. Part B, find the highest common factor of 156 and 130. So let's split up this 130 into its prime factors. 130 is the same as 13 times by 10. 13 is a prime number, 10 isn't, so we can further split up the 10 as 2 times by 5. 13, 2 and 5 are all prime numbers. Now let's see what's common to both. Well, you can see the 2 is common to both, and so is the 13. So for the highest common factor, we multiply 2 by 13 to get 26. So the highest common factor is 26. Question number 21. The mean length of 5 sticks is 4.2 centimeters. Nawal measured the length of one of the sticks as 7 centimeters. Part A, work out the mean length of the other 4 sticks. If we know that the mean length of 5 sticks is 4.2 centimeters, that means the total length will equal 4.2 multiplied by 5, which is 21. So the total length of all 5 sticks is 21 centimeters. So the remaining sticks will have a length of 21 centimeters, subtract this 7 centimeters, which is 14 centimeters. We have to find the mean length of these other 4 sticks. To do that, we need to divide the 14 by the 4, giving us 3.5. So the mean is 3.5 centimeters. Nawal made a mistake. The stick was not 7 centimeters long, it was 17 centimeters long. Part B, how does this affect your answer to part A? Well, as one of the sticks is longer, the sum of the remaining 4 sticks will be smaller, which means the mean we found here will also be smaller. So the mean would be less. Question number 22. The point P lies on the line AB. Use ruler and compass to construct an angle of 90 degrees at P. You must show all your construction lines. With our compass, put the pointy bit at the point P, like so. And then construct an arc here and another arc here. So now, at this intersection and this intersection, we can create our perpendicular bisector. Extend the compass so that the radius is larger than this length here, pointy bit here, and then draw an arc, retaining the same distance, pointy bit here, draw an arc, Now, join these together, like so. Here we have 90 degrees. Question number 23. The diagram shows an isosceles triangle ABD and the straight line ABC. We know that BA is equal to BD, and because we have an isosceles triangle, we can therefore state that the angle DAB is equal to the angle BDA, which is x degrees. The ratio x to y is equal to 2 to 1, and with this we have to work out the value of w. Well, if x to y is 2 to 1, that means x is equal to 2y. And what we can also do is use the fact that angles in a triangle sum to 180. So we've got x plus y, which equals 180, and that's because angles in a triangle sum to 180. And knowing that x is equal to 2y, we have 2y plus y equals 180. So altogether then, you can see we have 5y, which is equal to 180, and dividing both sides by 5, you can see y is 36. We can also use the fact that the angles on a straight line sum to 180 to help us find out what w is. So we have w plus y equals 180, and that's because angles in a straight line sum to 180. So we have w plus y, which is 36, equals 180, and subtracting 36 from both sides, we can conclude w is equal to 144. So w equals 144. Question number 24. Mano has 3 shelves of books. There are X books on shelf A. There are 3x plus 1 books on shelf B. There are 2x subtract 5 books on shelf C. There is a total of 44 books on the 3 shelves. All the books have the same mass. The books on shelf B have a total mass of 7,500 grams. We have to work out the total mass of the books on shelf A. So we have x on A plus 3x plus 1 on B plus 2x subtract 5 on C, and the total of all this is equal to 44. So let's simplify this. X plus 3x plus 2x is 6x. 1 subtract 5 is negative 4. So 6x subtract 4 equals 44. Adding 4 to both sides, 6x is 48, which means x is equal to 8. We can now find out how many books there are on each shelf. So I've got this table. I've got shelf A, shelf B, and shelf C. There's x on A, and I know x is 8, so A has 8 books on it. B is represented by 3x plus 1, and knowing that x is 8, 3 times by 8 plus 1 is 25, so there's 25 on B. And C is represented by 2x subtract 5, and knowing that x is 8, I've got 2 times 8 subtract 5, which is 11. So there's 8 books on A, 25 books on B, 11 books on C. I know that the total mass of books on B is 7,500, and I've got 25 books. So each book is equal to 7,500 divided by 25, which is equal to 300 grams. So on shelf A, because I've got 8 books, 8 times by 300, that's 2,400, so I've got 2,400 grams. Question 25. A piece of glass has a mass of 27 grams and a volume of 10 centimeters cubed. We have to work out the density of the piece of glass. Now for density, that's equal to the mass divided by the volume, and I can spot that by looking at the units here. Grams per centimeters cubed implies mass over volume. So for the density, that's equal to the mass 27 grams divided by the volume 10 centimeters cubed. 27 divided by 10 is 2.7, so the density is 2.7 grams per centimeters cubed. Question 26. Work out an estimate for 5.7 multiplied by 8.2 divided by 0.26. So what this result is approximately equal to, well, the 5.7 I can round up to 6, and I multiply this by 8.2, which I can round down to 8, and on the bottom I've got 0.26, which I can round down to 0.25. So let's work this out. 6 times by 8, that's 48, and I'm dividing this by 0.25. Now dividing something by 0.25 is the same as dividing by a quarter, which is the same as multiplying by 4. So we've got 48 multiplied by 4, which is 192. So an estimate for this calculation is 192. Question number 27, part A. Expand and simplify 3x plus 2 times 2x minus 5. We can use the grid method to help us. 3x plus 2 I can split up as 3x and 2x minus 5 I can split up as 2x and minus 5. So let's multiply using the grid method. 2x times 3x is 6x squared, 2x times 2 is 4x, minus 5 times 3x is minus 15x, minus 5 times 2 is minus 10. So when we come to simplify by collecting like terms, I've got the 6x squared, and then I've got 4x subtract 15x, which is negative 11x, and then I've got the negative 10. So 3x plus 2 multiplied by 2x minus 5 is equivalent to 6x squared subtract 11x subtract 10. Part B, factorise x squared subtract 16. That's the difference of two squares. We can write that as x plus 4 multiplied by x minus 4.